Hi there, Deborah here with another video on violin technical questions. Um, this one has to do with the squeezing problem, people that squeeze their violin by the neck. And of course that can cause all kinds of tension in the hand and then difficulty with intonation and other things. So I'm going to show you an exercise on that, but just to address a couple of things around that. First, one would be your setup, and this is probably something that needs to be in a one-on-one situation, but if you are having to raise your shoulder like this in order to hold your violin, if you're having to do that, you're probably going to wind up squeezing down here. So there has to be a balance between the head support, head and shoulder and collarbone here, and then the balance system down here. My hand is doing some support, but it's not carrying everything. And people that need to hold their violin this way, there's definitely something missing that way. And that's the subject of a different video. But I just want to point out that they're sort of connected, that if you feel like you need to hold up your violin with your hand, that there's going to be some difficulty there. Okay, so set up things aside. I just want to look at the position of the thumb. So the thumb should be straight, fairly straight, and I'm just above the fingerboard with my thumb. So from this angle, you can see that my thumb is sitting up this way. Now that's going to depend on what string I'm playing on. So if I'm on G string, the angle of my thumb has shifted a little bit this way. Whereas if I'm on the E string, my thumb is going to be a little bit more straight up. Okay, and so my arm position will need to pivot slightly in order to accommodate that. I can't play this way on the E string, that's not going to work. Okay, so if you've got that problem, that's something to look at in the mirror. And that probably has to do with a thumb that's doing this. So we don't want a thumb that's pinching in toward the side of the violin, because that means that you're afraid you're going to drop the violin. And that again has to do with that you're not feeling secure here. So, so let's say that we're set up with our straight thumb, and also that the thumb is basically sitting opposite the index finger. If my index finger is going to play like just a low A on the G string, I'm dropping my first finger basically opposite my thumb. I'm also, and this is the other problem with thumb squeezing, is that some people aren't set up properly here, so the base joint of my index finger needs to be sitting at the nut, right back at the nut of the violin. And that means that I'm able to drop the finger from the base joint. Every finger, every single, even the pinky finger, I can drop from the base joint. I can't drop my pinky finger from the base joint if the base joint of the finger is not physically higher than the violin. It's not going to work. I'm going to wind up doing this, and it's always going to be, you know, like buckling and out of tune. So, so those are kind of the setup factors that we need to have in place. I think it's also important that we feel that we're just completely, that the body is relaxed. So the shoulders are relaxed. We're open here in the sternum, so that we can sit this all up here, and the violin is able to sit here. So I'm not even using the bow at this point, because if you feel like you're squeezing somewhere and you haven't even put the bow on the string, putting the bow on the note is not going to make it better. So when you do this, this is an exercise that has, I mean, yes, it can be about intonation, but it's also just about mindful awareness of what your finger is doing on the string. So I'm just going to do this with no sound other than the sound. You might lightly hear my fingers tapping. You're not going to hear them hammering, okay? Because if you've got calluses on your fingers and perhaps a stain from your fingerboard, that's also a pretty good indicator that you're using way too much pressure from your fingers. And not only is it creating tension, which is tiring your hand, you're going to wear your strings out faster probably as well. So, so I just want to demonstrate this dropping the finger action with a really soft thumb. Now I'm able to continue to talk while I'm doing this. So that means that my jaw is relaxed. I'm not clenching my teeth. So the lips can be closed, but the jaw is open. So that's a little secret as well. I can do this, but that doesn't mean that my teeth are together. So I'm open this way, and then I'm just feeling that my thumb is helping to balance the neck of my violin so that I can drop the fingers in place. I'm going to work with a whole tone interval first of all, so going from the first to the second finger. So I could actually start from the open to the first finger and just go all the way across, and maybe that's a good way to start. So you notice that the first finger has to lift and come down. A good analogy is actually to think of birds of prey. Okay, they don't, it's not this action with the finger, it's not this, right? It's like they have this ability to grab, but it's working from the base joint of the finger, and that works all the way across. So here's my view from, this would be F sharp on the E string, and then as I go across to the A, and the D, and the G string. I'm maybe a centimeter off the string, and right now I'm really not I'm not hammering the string, I'm just lightly tapping the string. So I would start with a tapping motion first of all, and don't feel that you need to press super hard. The other thing is just the actual position of the finger. I'm just going to quickly draw a line so that you can see like the position of the index finger. So my index finger, I'm kind of right there. So if that's my nail, I'm to the thumb side of the finger when I'm putting that finger down. If I go like this, you can see all of a sudden that that's going to affect my wrist, and so my wrist is going to go crooked. And a lot of people, I catch this happening on the E string. They think that for some reason on the E string they need to lean their finger over, and of course now my thumb is in here and it's pinching. So even on the E string, it's like walking the tightrope wire, but it's going to be right on the inside corner of that finger. I'm sorry, I can't get the greatest angle here. This is about the best I can do. So now I'm going to add the second finger. Still no bow. I'm adding the second finger. So I'm going to start with my low A on the G string, and I'm going to do a whole step for a moment. So this is going from A to B, and now I'm going to need to pick up my first finger to move it to the D string. So now I'm going E, F sharp. I think you can maybe see it this way, and I'm picking up the first finger, and now I'm going B, C sharp, and I'm picking up the finger again, and I'm going F sharp, G sharp. And then I could do that same exercise coming back down. I'll see if I can get a little more overhead here. G sharp, F sharp, pick up my G sharp, walk it over, G sharp, F sharp, pick it up, walk it over, F sharp to E on the D string, and then I walk over B, A on the G string. So just doing that walking action. And you can hear it a little bit. You can just hear the fingers very faintly, but I'm not hammering. I don't need to do that. That's just going to really wear out my fingers. I could continue to do this with the third finger, and going to particularly the apart position is usually a problem. This is where we have, because now I've got 3 whole steps, right? So if I'm on the G string, I would have an A, a B, and a C sharp. And it's usually this distance that creates a problem for a lot of people, getting that to be far enough apart and then having to pick up the finger and walk it across, because I have to leave a finger down while I'm doing that walk. Okay, there, and I'm not really including, if I'm focusing on 2 fingers, then I'm not including the first finger. It's out of the picture for right now. I don't need it. This exercise, by the way, I should just acknowledge that it is from a Suzuki teacher. His name's Joseph Kaminski, and he teaches in St. Louis. So this is the book that it comes from, and he refers to it as walking fifths, which it is because I'm doing each string is a fifth apart. So if I'm going to put the bow to this, I'm going to put starting from the open string to the first finger, and I'm doing about a quarter note is 60 roughly on the metronome. I'm not actually going to put a metronome to this, but a quarter note at 60 would be like this. And coming back down, I'm going to reverse it. And the idea is that as you're playing that you are absolutely mindful of the feeling of your thumb and your index finger. That your index finger is gently applying pressure. It's not so weak that it's a harmonic. That would be a harmonic, that I'm not really putting enough pressure on the string. How little pressure do you need? There should almost be the feeling in your fingertip that you can feel the vibration of the string. If you can't feel that vibration, then maybe you need to back off. Okay, so here's the exercise, just so you know how it works. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking constantly about how does my thumb feel? How does my index finger feel? How does my finger, how much pressure do I need on that finger? So here we are, just so that you can see the fingers from this side. I'm watching the thumb. Now I reverse. Now I add the second finger. And reverse. And this one you can do either with a high 3 or a low 3 or low 3. I'm going to do it with 3 next door to 2 for now. And now here's the tricky one. Sorry, I should do this the other direction as well. So I could also do that as and now this is the one everybody hates. Reverse direction. I would suggest not doing the last one for the fourth finger until you're really feeling like you're in control of first and second fingers, because the fourth finger is going to create a stretch in your hand, and you're probably going to feel like you're squeezing. So I hope this helps. It's very much a mindfulness. You need to be thinking about how you are picking up your fingers and positioning them on the string. And you don't need a bow to do that. In the beginning, the best thing to really address this problem is just do it with the violin in hand and be very conscious of how is your posture and how is your balance system working, that this is part of your balance system. So give that a try, walking fingers. And if you would like to continue having further discussions about how to apply this, you can private message me or go to my website and contact me, and I'd be happy to do an online session on this. Thanks very much.